actually sweating completely. It's like I was exercising fully all my body. Hello everyone, I'm very excited to make this video finally, so let's get started. Well, I think the title of this video kind of says everything about whether Hanon exercises are worth your time or not. So the discussion could be rather around how to play these exercises. Because if you just follow the given direction that Charles Hanon written in the score, without real understanding of how piano technique works, just mechanically lifting up your fingers, playing with great strength, you might end up not only not building up finger muscles at all, but instead injuring your wrist. So, I mean, I'm just saying there's difference between playing this way sorry for my actually D, by the way, it's gonna stuck all the time, but I hope it's not gonna diminish the meaning of this video. Okay, so between this way and, for example, this way. Okay. Now, on the other hand, if you use these exercises to train your musical inner ear, correct tone production, you will not only greatly strengthen your finger muscles, but will also avoid that unbearable boredom while practicing this, as it could seem from the first sight, non-musical music. So let me guide you step by step through all the amazing things you can actually do with Hanon exercises. By the way, there's also a book that you can download below with selected exercises for 4th, 5th fingers as well as for your thumb. And all exercises you can practice using the method I'm going to show you in this video. So there are kind of 5 benefits that I can list here. Essentially, there is no effort with sight reading this music, so you could easily focus on more advanced tasks such as imagination, movements coordination, and intonation. So especially if you are not advanced pianist, it's very, very, very useful. Now, second one, because all exercises have kind of repeating pattern of movements with similar motions in both hands, it becomes very easy and efficient to study wrist and elbow movements. So similar patterns create repetitive movements, which also increase the speed of learning and memorizing movements. And speaking about repetitive patterns, this is the best material you could probably find for starting imagining notes, because as soon as you get it right in the first bar, yeah, you just shift everything 1 pitch higher in your imagination. That's basically it. I mean, it helps a lot to practice this way. Okay, what was that? 3. Number 4. Again, repetitive patterns will be really the best material to train musical speech. And especially in these exercises where Hanon would only use 2, 3 intervals in the pattern, and they are mostly seconds and thirds, so it's very, very useful. And the last, studying phrasing and training energy and weight distribution in passages is also relatively easier with simple music structure like these exercises have. To sum up again, this is a perfect material for developing musical inner ear, correct tone production, and of course the strength and agility of fingers. Just FYI guys, I will put the links to study every principle I'm going to be using here in the description below. So if you have any questions, you can always find answers right there. I hope you understand, because if I'm going to explain every principle here, it's going to take much more than, let's say, 20 minutes. So let's go. Wrist and elbow movements. So this is the movements you would make with your wrist. Left, right, 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 right. Left, 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 left. Right, 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 right. Okay, now elbow movement. There is a thing. Usually you would. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about elbow. It's gonna take a lot. I'm just gonna show you where you move. So you're gonna move on here, basically on the first note that goes in the next direction. So this, and as soon as we go down, so this is the first note to go down. So we move elbow here. This is the first note to go up. We move here. And over here, going down, up, left, right. Now next, let's feel all the movements inside with our imagination, because as we all know, if we just make movements, it will still bring tension to the hands, because we're unable to control the sensations that are invisible for us. So the sensations that are in the muscles. We can only control it with our imagination, the energy of imagination. Okay, so some movement. Again, what you could use of course strings, you could use sound texture. Very easy. My students find it quite easy even to use sound texture than timbre of instruments. And if you're not advanced, if you're not an advanced pianist, what I would suggest is just when you go up, imagining right hand, and when you go down, imagine left hand. Now there is a thing, the hand that you're not going to imagine while playing most probably will just act and imitate movements, but wouldn't really, feel it natural and still feel a bit stiff. So I would really, really encourage you to start developing polyphonic ear, meaning imagining both hands together. And you can use it with this simple exercise. Let's say you take the first note. I'm imagining it to the left. So if you're gonna imagine to the left, you're gonna start playing in your head notes from top to the bottom. So this one to the left and this to the left. And then you speed up. The next one to the right. So you now from the bottom. All of this you're only making in your imagination. Not singing, not playing. Next one. So it's together. Then if you go down, then from the top. Left, left. So note by note. And then as soon as you get the first bar, like this, maybe it might take, I don't know, the whole week if you're just a really beginner. Then try to imagine the whole bar without stopping. So basically in your imagination you would do this. And then go on with the next bar. So eventually it's just very beneficial. If you really want to feel completely free with your hands, then you should, of course, imagine both hands while playing. So the first step would basically look like this. I'm imagining notes and I'm playing it with correct wrist and elbow movement, keeping my hand absolutely empty and light, not making anything else. I'm not lifting up my fingers yet. If you're hanging here for another 2 minutes, you understand why. So now we hop into intonation and weight. Basically, your task would be all the same as you just did, but of course, gathering weight and playing while internally sing with resistance and glissando in between notes. Yes, guys, even between seconds. Now, it's very important here to know how to start, because you might, gather weight, and then if there's nothing in your head and you're trying to search for the sound, you might stop here while your hands are already on the keyboard. So this way is not gonna work. You need either to imagine the sound, I would say, if you're also not advanced, this is what you would do. You would imagine the sound first in your head, at least the first note. Then you gather weight, and while gathering weight, you again remind yourself, while bringing hands to the keyboard, you remind yourself again the sound that you need to produce on the instrument. Okay, so you imagine sound, good. Gather weight, bringing hands to the keyboard, I imagine sound again, and you start playing right away. So if I play now with intonation, weight, imagination, wrist, elbow movement, it looks this way. To the interesting part, dynamics and voicing. I mean, voicing if you're able to imagine both hands. I would, you will see it a little bit later, when you really practice the piece, not just studying, I would encourage you to practice it in piano, legato staccato, in different tempos, and in forte, legato staccato, in different tempos. So that's why we need to train to imagine this exercise in piano as well as in forte. So let's start with piano. I'm not diminish the size of the sound, still keep the same size, increase transparency only. Otherwise, tiny sound will create tiny sensation in muscle, which create tension. Okay, so when you imagine piano, you gather weight and play again. And I just want to add that practicing like in different dynamics and in different articulations will help you to build up finger muscles better, because for playing piano, for example, I feel more muscle here. For example, when I play forte, I feel more muscle there. I mean, I know there's no muscles here, but I feel something here. So different dynamics, different articulations will train different parts of muscles. Anyways, so after we make our piano, let's add voicing. Voicing is very, very important. I can't really grasp why it is important, but first of all, of course, it sounds better. Second of all, it feels more effortless to play this way. So again, when we're gonna voice, we're gonna voice maybe just right hand, and again, without making the sound sharper, which would again create some sharp energy and tension in muscles, we're just gonna imagine it closer to us. Use distance. Okay. go to forte. So again, forte has to be imagined with great resonance, because if we imagine forte like this, it will create the same sensation. We'll lock up our muscles again. So big, full, like in a huge cathedral with great resonance. And of course we're using weight, and here, ta-da! Now you will see naturally, just because I'm imagining the huge sound, just because I'm expressing through weight and intonation, our fingers will start lifting up. Trust me, all my finger muscles work at 100%, and I don't feel any uncomfortable sensations, any aching, any stiffness in my hands, because I use the weight of my body, yet it actually helps even better to train my finger muscles. And again, we can use voicing. Just imagine that you're standing closer. It's right hand right in front of you with the same forte resonance. While playing forte that your hands start to get stiff, pay attention better to your elbow movements. Maybe your elbow movements are not big enough and you're kind of moving it quite stiff. So now let's go to articulations. Well, I just showed you basically that was legato. Now let's play soft staccato and loud staccato. Again, that will help finger muscles to work better. So just want to show you how we're gonna articulate. Second part, gonna speed up. So make sure you make good glissando and resistance in the first part and make extreme speed up in the second part, because that part exactly will affect how sharp your finger muscle will work, how well it will work. Okay, so let's do piano. Inside my muscles are burning right now. And let's do forte. Now when you play forte, there could be both ways. You cannot lift your fingers like this. And then forte kind of is not enough. So I suggest you kind of force yourself, at least in the beginning, lift up your fingers. Okay. So I realize that this sounds probably very loud on my microphone. It's mostly like a horse, two horses. So I think staccato in forte is the best exercise for finger muscles. Wow, feel good. Musical speech. So, well, we're gonna intonate basically 1/3. There's 1/3. Over here, there's 1/4, and then the rest is just seconds. So if I sing with musical speech, and I know the third has a certain meaning, and then seconds. So I would feel different. Again, you don't really have to do musical speech, but I would really encourage you because it helps tremendously with the next stage of phrasing. Somehow, when you have this understanding of intervals inside the phrasing, it's much easier to make phrasing blocks. So if I play with musical speech, let's come back to soft and legato. And as you can see, I'm not playing in steady time right now because, well, I'm not in the time stage yet. So let yourself, allow yourself to make some kind of rubato to ease the process of feeling musical speech in between notes through internal singing while playing. And phrasing. So, as you can see on the score, on the screen, one motive, one bar, so everything you're gonna bring to the last interval. So if I sing the motive, it sounds this way. The first note kind of belongs to the previous motive, but I included it in the first motive anyways. Again, take your time, slow down towards the main interval, and take some break, and take a breath before starting new interval, new motive. And for those of you who don't really know why we're doing phrasing, phrasing creates the waves of energy when we basically inhale and exhale our energy in our muscles, and the last one will basically give us ability to play without tension, without accumulating tension, because we're always gonna breathe while playing. So we're not gonna like holding the tension, which will bring to injuries of your hand, and not like we're playing on complete exhalation all the time, where you're unable to move your fingers, but it will always create more, less, more. So this is how it looks like when I play by motive. Now, the phrase here, due to a certain pattern and limitation of the Hanon of this exercise, I had to make like this. So as you can see, one phrase has two motifs, next phrase has two motifs, and next phrase has three motifs. So it's basically it. And when you go down, it's the same, except in the end there are 2 and 2 motifs in the phrase. So if I sing, and if I play, Again, sentence gonna have 3 phrases mostly, except the very last one, gonna have 2 and 2. And last phrase basically gonna be more important. So if I gonna sing, so the last 3 motive phrase, as you can see on the screen, is the most prominent. And then you can stop here in the next sentence. And stop again. I think I didn't stop in between, but you understand. Okay, wait, so this is one. Okay, and the last sentence. And the last one would be time. So we are going to pulsate half of the bar, so every crochet. And basically, just always feel it before you start and feel it while you continue. And it's always important not just feel those vertical pulses, but always feel the phrasing, horizontal phrasing that always goes through those vertical pulses. So basically, you know, let's say I'm gonna start very beautiful and smooth and calm time. Okay, and then I start playing. And of course here I will play everything in a steady time. Or at least I will try to play in a steady time. So now I'm just gonna play for you non-stop this exercise to give you an idea of how you would practice every exercise. So before, how you study, you know, like collecting all the layers till you get the full art in your hands. Now how to actually practice this exercise. Practicing it in different tempos, in piano with legato and staccato, in forte with legato and staccato, will build strength in different parts of muscles. And practicing in different keys will also help to upload to your imagination the sounds of black keys, which is very good for training musical inner ear. And of course, there are a little bit different distance between those notes, so you will again develop a little bit more, even smaller parts of finger muscles. So basically, you would play with, right, and D major, something like this. And the last thing to say, when you feel unhealthy tension, I'm repeating myself, but it's important. When you feel unhealthy tension in hands, like there's no breathing anymore, focus better on phrasing waves and on better elbow movements. So I guess you understand what I mean, right? So phrasing waves meaning drop more energy in the beginning of blocks, bring more to the more permanent section that will all let your muscles start breathing again. And again, elbow movements, sometimes in fast tempo, especially when we're distracted with all more advanced tasks, we can forget and elbows will feel a little bit locked up, and that will bring tension to the wrist. So always remind yourself to move your elbows. Now, after practicing this way that I'm going to show you, 10 minutes, for 10 minutes, maybe for a couple of days, you will already feel very pleasant sensations in your fingers. It's just worth it just to experience the sensation as fingers, so just go ahead. So let's go ahead. Now, piano, legato, And I'm gonna go through three types of time. Okay, I'm not gonna play this too long because it's too boring, but not for you. Now I'm going a little bit faster. Faster again. I'm not still lifting up my fingers because I'm playing piano. Sticky D. Let's say piano staccato in different tempos. Again, let's go to faster. Again, I apologize, the sun has gone, so it's probably very dark, but okay. Actually playing staccato, but maybe you can't see, but I feel it. Now let's go to forte. Forte. Okay, let me breathe. It's like I just ran some kilometers. Forte, legato. Again, three types of time. Okay, so start with slow. Faster. Okay. forte, staccato in 3 different tempos. Let's go slow. I forgot. I'm just playing a little bit. Now let's go faster. Fastest. Let me take a breath. Okay. Sweating completely. It's like I was exercising fully all my body. So that's the way you're gonna practice exercises by Charles Louis, if I'm not mistaken, Hanon. Okay, so that's about it. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.